I'm Jerry Jackman. I was with India 24 that started training at the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee in February of 1966. There were 41 of us to begin with, and 13 weeks later there were 25 of us that went to India. I think the shrinkage was partly because we were getting reports about the developing famine in northern India. Our group was dispersed over quite a range in eastern UP and in Bihar, and of course what happened was referred to as the Bihar famine. The Bihar volunteers, I think there were 11 of them, were completely separated from us, and our group was trained in what was called rural manpower, but they got broken into an assignment of drilling tube wells.
And checking the accuracy of his story. I was his roommate.
We were both in eastern UP. I was in Mirzapur, just on the south side of the Ganges, and actually lived in relative opulence in a big bungalow. A next door neighbor was the district magistrate, and the district, the program expanded rapidly because of the developing famine situation. It was mostly road building, fairly small farm-to-market roads, and then got involved with some other engineering projects, including building small dams. Ken, you want to comment?
Yeah, the USAID director decided that PL 480 wheat was not getting out to the villagers as it was supposed to, and so that was a part of what our program was. When I went there, the warehouseman was taking 100% of the wheat and giving the workers a little chit, and I said, well, they're not getting wheat, and he said, well, if they bring the chit in, we'll give them wheat. Well, of course, they were illiterate and they didn't understand, so I said, well, warehouseman, you get 10%, and the guy with the bullock carts to take the wheat out, he gets 10%. And so once we did that, villagers, all 5,000 of them working on the roads, got their wheat, and that ended it. So I went in and told the aid director that that's what I'd done, and he said, only a kid from Gary, Indiana would stamp out corruption with more corruption.
In the spring of '67, I was in a little development block town named Marian, and a boy came up to me early in the morning and said that a woman, Angrezi woman, had come to see me in a Jeep, and I couldn't imagine who that would be because there were no women in our group, and it turned out to be the wife of the ambassador, Chester Bowles, and her name was Steb. And so I took them to see the project that was the simplest kind of a project that we were involved with, was the excavation of a village tank. That is, over the centuries, the little ponds would gradually fill up with sediment, and so largely just to provide food for the worker, to provide employment, we would pay them to excavate the tanks. And so there were about 650 people working on that one project, and that was probably impressive to her, but what sticks in my mind as being most impressive was, as we were driving there, a herd of antelope came leaping across the road in front of us, a chinkara. So at the end of our 2 years, there were 18 of us left, and one, Fred Bonneman, was so sick with hepatitis that he had to be flown directly home, and ironically, he was actually from Denmark. He had moved to the States when he was 21 years old, and had been obviously joined the Peace Corps from San Jose, California. And after the Peace Corps experience, he went back to Denmark, and he's still there. So, yeah.